everyone, and welcome to another JellyPod episode. I'm here with Demosthenes, which I'm super excited about because we go way back. For those that don't know, we launched our projects around the same time, almost 3 years ago now. And he is the founder of the Mallard Order. Really amazing art of ducks in a secret cult-like order. And through time, they've built a lot of different things. Have the Raiders Guild. We're one of the first projects on Cardano that launched in Ordinal in Bitcoin that I think was like around 200,000 inscriptions, if I'm remembering correctly.
Under
Early on.
175K, yeah.
175K, which is insane, especially since we're at like 80, 90 million now. But yeah, we're going to learn a little bit more about his journey, what they're doing at the Mallard Order. And if anyone has any questions throughout this, feel free to put it in the chat. We'll try to answer them. But Demosthenes, appreciate you jumping on. The first question I always ask people that hop on is to tell me about their Web3 journey. How did you like get into crypto and, start a project?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, originally, I had known about Bitcoin, of course, and I let like the internet kind of, trick me into thinking that it's probably a scam. Not the internet, really. It was TV, right? TV, the mainstream media had me thinking, oh, it's probably a scam. And then I used to associate it a lot with the dark web, right? And like drug sales and stuff. So I was like, that's really shady. And one of my friends at the time that I used to work with, we worked in the same office in a place called New Life Health Expo. And it's this health expo that's been around, holistic health expo that's been around New York City and Florida for over 35 years. It's literally been around almost as long as I have. And I used to do sales over the phone, the good old commissions way, trying to get boosts to be sold. Yeah. So my friend Austin at the time, across from me, he was one of the sales guys as well. And he would always be buying it through Craigslist. Like he would go meet up with strangers, and then the individual would they would charge him like 25% extra, and he would do an actual trade in person, like cash for Bitcoin. So I tried it one time and then pretty much forgot all about it. And I didn't really buy much. I bought like $20 worth or something like that. And then I burned it as soon as Bitcoin hit like 2K or something. But my real journey started around COVID, when the world stopped and I actually had to like look at what was going on around me. And one of the only things that I noticed that wasn't being completely manipulated like crazy, because the housing market was shit. I'm sorry if I'm cursing. Stocks weren't doing well, and it looked like everything was being manipulated, etc. I at that time was running an SEO company, and I decided, you know what, screw it. Like I see NFTs are appearing on TV now. Ethereum looks crazy. I got into something called Wax because I was into gaming. So like there was all these like cool gaming staking mechanisms, like stuff that people ended up doing like years later. Wax and EOS was doing so way, like early. And anywho, so I started originally buying Wax through like KuCoin, I believe, because I wanted to play this game. I think it was Alien Worlds or something like that at the time, and Splinterlands as well. And I had found out about it through like, a couple of friends of mine that were in this Discord. They were playing this game called Our Planet. So I got to meet a lot of different individuals there. I shared my little early noob journey into crypto, but they really got me into like understanding how many chains there were. What's the difference between an L1, L2? So I was basically like a little Padawan during COVID, listening to these guys, learning more and more. After I made like a sizable win for myself, because I kept putting all my SEO marketing money, like I had like around 25 plus clients, and we were scaling like 10, 15 clients every month. Around COVID, funny enough, most people that had brick and mortars realized the importance of digital presence. So that was like the best time ever. And I would grab like about 80-something% of my paycheck and put it all into crypto. So in a short, TLDR, that's pretty much how I got in. And how I got into Cardano was funny enough through YouTube videos, because I was tired of like all the scammy stuff, and I wanted something more like user friendly, and that like kind of had the same zeitgeist and ideals that Bitcoin had, where it's like, taking back your own power, the people, and sovereignty and governance. Even though that didn't work out exactly how I thought later on, that's why I got into Cardano. And YouTube videos like yourself, Jason, it's just so funny. When I met you, it was like meeting a celebrity. I used to watch your videos all the time. you and a couple of other guys like DZ and them. And it basically got me into Cardano in the first place. Why I started a project, I've always been a creator. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always liked building. And this was no difference. This is like an amalgamation of everything that I'm capable of, all right? I've done event managerial work. I've done clerical work. I've done coding, like pseudo coding, and, you know, like WordPress and CSS, Ruby on Rails. I wouldn't really call that coding anymore, but I used to make websites, and I've done sales. So I feel like it connects everything, the customer care, the sales, and the tech know-how. And plus I'm into art. So, you know, I got my little team together, and one of the reasons why we started off basically free airdrop was that reason. You know, we wanted to show our value first. We wanted to show like how we can curate experiences first. We wanted to show people that during that crappy bear market that no one expected to happen, and then Do Kwon and FTX, we wanted to really bring people's morale up. So, you know, that's why we started this project. After my race.
It's crazy how many similarities are in there. Like, I remember Wax as well, like totally underrated at that time. I remember there were different like collectible NFTs dropping. I mean, it was just a crazy ecosystem. And you know, on your point about all of those skills too, it is crazy how many skills you need for an NFT project to last, or any crypto project in general, because you're bringing in every single one of those skills are needed in order to last. I am curious,
Crazy.
like, we started around the same time. What do you think? What skills do you think has helped you the most to still have a project relevant today?
My marketing skills, definitely. Being aware of what's the next trend, knowing when to pivot, seeing what doesn't work, reviewing, surveying the room too. I noticed a lot of, not a lot, but certain founders, and I'm not talking about only in this Cardano ecosystem, but Web3 wide, they're kind of tone deaf. They don't pay enough. They build, but never pay attention to what the community's saying. And usually they're the ones that are steering the ship. You only think you are, but they're the ones that are really steering it. So you got to really listen to the end user of what they actually want. Don't just build because you want to build it.
No, that's facts. That's facts. And you know, speaking of building, what is Mallard Order, the rundown for like those that don't know anything about the project? What are you guys trying to do? What have you guys done?
All right. And I'll try to keep this short because I'm super passionate. But essentially, you know, our collection started off with 6,500 ducks. That's the main OG collection. Invitation letters were the whitelist meta. So we saw the space. We saw that people were burnt out. At that time, we all had hopium. I got into Cardano around $1.60. You know, I actually got an original at like 116, but then it rode up to $3, and I bought the top at like 2 something and got wrecked. When I returned on an interactive, I'm actually in the ecosystem level where I'm not just buying the L1 or L2s, etc. I'm not just buying the tokens off Coinbase or KuCoin, was around 160. So as it started going down, and you know, like we started all losing a bit of hope, I saw that the space completely changed once it bottomed out around like 60 cents for like I think it was like a 5-month period. And at that time, we just did pre-mint for around 4 months. And pre-mint consisted of finding out who was who in the space. I'm all about curating an experience, and the experience starts first with the ideation, the concept execution, but the people really matter in that experience. If you have the wrong people for whatever experience you're trying to curate, they might throw it off kilter on where you're really trying to aim it. So we made sure we looked for individuals that, you know, weren't given the best chances, that always felt like they were left out. So me and my team would jump around Discords, secretly watching from the bushes as the secret order would. Yeah. And it was hilarious because people forgot how the tech worked. And they thought it was like magic at some time. Like, how did I get this invitation letter? They don't know me. It's like, bro, you wear your PFP. We just actually sat here and really manually made sure to find that exact trait match, and then find your wallet, and then airdrop you that whitelist. At that time, people, like I said, were burnt out. We wanted to give them something free first. but we wanted people to understand that participation is really the best thing you can do in this space, because you get to network that way. You get to meet each other. You get to communicate. One of the best utilities in this place is how many unique individuals there really are here. It's like literally top utility to me. It's changed my life. Even speaking to you right now, it's like the people you get to meet with these different talents is amazing. So anywho, we wanted to get everybody together and involved before minting. And we wanted, again, to make sure that every individual in our holders actually made sense to us. We had so much hype at that time. We really were capable of we put a barrier up. We didn't just want everyone through the door. We wanted to make sure, again, that the right people were in, and it wouldn't turn into a Discord where people are like arguing, etc. So 6,500, so 555 invitation letters were dropped through 3 trials, which were essentially 3 engagement events. One of them being the trial of loyalty. We had individuals go outside. We told them, go touch grass, go spend a cool day with your family. And while you're doing so, make an origami duck. Here's a video on how to do it. We called it an effigy because we're very thematic. And go outside and place it somewhere and show us your loyalty to the order. And boy, did that explode. The whole freaking space was making origami ducks. And you know what was the best part, Jason? At the end of it, they're like, at first I was annoyed to do this, but I gotta say I had a good day with my wife and kids today. And it's like, exactly.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, yeah. So then there's the trial of wisdom. We did this whole interactive puzzle. We had like a whole terminal with riddles and all this like occult and ancient knowledge kind of underline in the theme. It was like the Owl of Minerva, which is like a very Greek and Hermetic kind of thing. Anyways, then we had the trial of strength. We had them playing video games. So we made sure we showed people different ways to engage with one another. Then mint day hits. We minted for, I believe, whitelist was 95 ADA, and then public was 120 ADA. And it was like an instant mint sellout, I should say. And essentially what we had originally envisioned and promised everyone is very simple. So us in IRL, like my co-founder, Nemesis, super cool female. Her artist name is Zara, right? You can look her up, Zara NYC. Very well known. So she has this massive art background. So we wanted to stick to things we understood best. Me, I like marketing, I like engaging, I like participation, etc. So I'm over here curating events, making cool stuff. My other co-founder, which you call Crypt Keeper, but his real name is Hayden, he's like a calculator. So he's helping out with logistics. He's helping me out make up ciphers. This is before AI tooling, mind you, right? So we're actually having to like conceptualize and make sure everything works, figure out every variable that could go wrong. Anywho, we kept it simple. We set up to make a merch, right? Really cool branding, really cool brand that people can get behind, something that wasn't cringe and goofy, etc. For what we have thematically, at least, right? Because it's supposed to be like Freemasons, so we can't look too cute. And also a print shop, which so far we've been doing B2B, but now we're going to turn B2C. It's one of the reasons why the project has even existed this long. It's been like the lifeblood behind the scene. And also, I believe at the time we wanted to do a kind of loan system, which we ended up doing, but the smart contract aspect didn't work out, so we had to shut that down. But those were pretty much our simple original promises on what we wanted to do with this project: is provide a print shop, provide cool branding, provide cool events, and then we turned it into something a bit more that's closer to home, where now we're curating. We've done like 6 events so far. Every time NFT NYC happens in New York City, we were throwing events here. We were the only Cardano project at the time representing for Cardano during NFT NYC. Nemesis will curate a whole gallery experience for everyone. And the point is to bring everyone in through a placebo effect of fun, but with education in the undertone of it all. And it's been pretty successful thus far in that regard. And we're trying to make it something even more, where we're trying to, make some rev and actually bring it back to a project. But I'll get into that a little later, since you asked me how we started it and what it really is. So in a nutshell, that's what we really are. And we also have Raiders Guild, but again, you can ask your next question.
I mean, you know what's crazy? I distinctly remember you guys launching, and I still think you guys had the best pre-launch out of any project on Cardano. I remember the hype around the invitation letters. I think at one point they were going for like 5,000 ADA, if I'm remembering
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
correctly. All of these
yeah,
trials trying to get into the Discord, like there was
yeah.
so much secrecy, and it really played into the brand that you guys created. Um, I know you tapped into it a little bit, but what made you focus so much on this sort of storytelling and hand picking? Like why did you see like so much value to decide to do that? Because you really don't see projects doing that as much anymore. But it was obviously like a big part of what you guys had done getting started.
Yeah, it's an easy answer. I'm a massive nerd at heart. The IPs that have been long lasting to me are the ones that I felt I could relate to the characters, the ones that I've actually had experiences with that made me cry, or I followed them along their journey, whether it be the animation or the live action movie, or they switched it into a novel, etc. I feel like storytelling and building narratives is how you captivate an audience, and the ones that actually and basically find people that align with it. People will listen to the story or feel the experiences, and it'll resonate with them. They'll go home with something, remembering you. And I feel like there's no intrinsic value in art until the individual kind of gives it the value through perception, right? Through some sort of experience that they had. It doesn't necessarily come with the value until they could see it. And I feel like one of the best ways to do that is to make an experience for someone. It's painstaking, of course, to sit there and methodically and meticulously look through each individual and vet them all. But I felt like that's the only way to really get like the family feel. We really needed it to feel like, just like you said, this secrecy, this like environment where it's like you gotta bang on the door to get in, and like a little slide open is like, say the secret password, and if you can't get it right, the slide closes and we don't care what you got. So that's pretty much it. I feel like the reason why floors dumped so quick after a mint is because the individuals were going to sell the news, and also they had no tie to it. They went and clicked like a giveaway bot or something and just walked away. Who cares, right? When they come back, all they see is the 2x and they dump. But it's a whole different story when the asset was given to you for free, and then you worked X amount to actually get it. You then realize there's some sort, and you make friends along the way. So now you're like associating something more than just the value of the asset, on secondary. So that's pretty much it.
You made people have to work for it. And you know what's interesting? I feel like Mallards is still one of the loudest NFT communities on Cardano. I mean, do you think all the way from back then, how you originally sort of handpicked this is why the community has been active today? Or like, why do you think the community is as active as they are? I even saw recently you guys had like a whole tweet sort of raid of a bunch of people, making posts, "Oh, the
Yeah.
ordinals were early and we did this early." What's
Yes.
kind of been the
And
sauce
most
with
of
that? Yeah, Mallard
thank
up
you.
from Andre, exactly.
Yeah, Mallard up. Yeah, shout outs to Andre, man. Yeah, and shout outs L, shout outs Esco, shout outs to all the guys, man. But uh dude, you know what it really is? It's really like this little mini family. So like, I'll tell you the truth, I'm only human, right? There have been, man, I lost my grandma. There have been times where I'm like legit depressed, but of course my PR sense will never let you see it. I'll always show up and say GM, even though my heart's crushed. But my holders, some of them will literally know. They'll message me and be like, Demos, something is off about you. And that's what makes it special. That's what makes us so loud. It's not necessarily just how we started the project, but then and I hate to sound corny, we have made a little bond with each other. We have met each other in person. So they all come together in agreement. They'll be like, Demos, you think it's time? You think it's time for us to, like, I had this idea. And I'll be like, wait a minute, that's a great idea. Say that again. It's like, yeah, we'll say this as the slogan. And then I'll say it in the middle of the chat. And then the whole room says, we're like, okay, let's take it on the TL. It's never, sometimes it's not like this pre-thought out thing where we're like, we'll pay you when this was an event. Nah, sometimes it's like someone just had a solid idea. Like the other day, someone just had a cool idea. Last of the Pride is like, hey, we should do this. And we're all like, okay, let's go. And that was it, man. We just decided, you know what? It's time to like crank it back to where we were. We've been through some hardships, and we're still alive. We're still here. And yeah, man, it's time to bring back the vibe. And I'm also really tired of hearing all the cynicism towards NFTs, because out of everything that I've watched in this space ever build anything, I feel like NFTs founders and NFT teams have left behind some of the coolest open source tooling outside of like the protocol devs. That's just my thought.
Yeah, dude, and I've been seeing a lot of like noise with Mallard recently. You guys' floor has been pumping up a lot. Like it's cool to see. I saw you guys were trending recently on JPEG Store. It's awesome to see a project that has shown up every day because I've been able to witness this, right? Like you guys came out around the same time. I've been able to witness it, and I don't think people understand like what you had said. There's personal life stuff comes up. There's a lot of bullshit that you have to deal with with the founder, whether that's unappreciation or doing all this shit and it not going anywhere, and like still showing up after all this time is not easy, and that's why you see so many rugs. They get their money, they got their cash, and they say, "Hey, like it's not worth me, delivering anything. Let me dip." So it's hard to find like projects that have prioritized their community. Yeah, I mean, you got a freaking tattoo.
I got it in blood, man. That's it. The pact has been sealed. I can't give up, bro. That's it. That's why I did that. I'm like, you know what? Let's go.
Yeah, like you literally put it on your arm. Like that's crazy. What sort of gave you so much conviction with Mallard Order? Like where you would literally tattoo the shit on your arm? Like like what about Mallard Order?
Because I'm not faking the funk, because
yeah.
it's a part of me. Like I like art. I like being a nerd. I like tech. I like interacting and socializing with people. And you're telling me that I could do it all here. And then I get to work with one of my best friends on the whole planet, Nemesis. And then I get to work with one of the best artists I've ever met in my whole life, Boxlord. And it's like, why wouldn't I be doing this? This is awesome. And I really feel like blockchain technology is like the future. And this isn't a joke. Like out of all the like it's just like any other industry. At first, it starts off like the Wild West, but when the dust settles, the tech is the tech, and you can't, like the grifters and every bull crap that's above it will die off eventually, will be sanitized, but the technology will still be underneath it and it will still keep running. So I feel like that's truly the future. Why wouldn't I want my leg in there, since I don't think it's going anywhere and I want to be a part of it? And I think this is the best avenue that an artist can take. Artists get screwed in Web 2, like just beat down, used, mistreated. At least here, it's verifiably on chain that something rightfully belongs to you and it's owed to you. And or it's verifiable that you were the original one to make it. And I really love that aspect about it.
It's an underrated aspect for sure. I mean, my sister's an artist, so like I know a lot of the crap that she's gone through, and it's crazy. And speaking of that, I remember NFT NYC. I remember going to your little art gallery thing that was super cool that you had set up. I also saw recently you made this post like you're done with founders that aren't willing to do events, that show up, that go in spaces. Like, can you break that down? Like, the importance of it?
I mean, it's as simple as this. In any other industry, when you have investors, you do some sort of quarterly letter, right? At least, and you do some sort of quarterly meeting or annual meeting or with your investors. People need to see who you are. Like, if I just asked you for money, right, and you believed in me that much, I feel like it's essential that I can at least help you sleep at night with putting a face to the agreement. You know, call me old school. I'm 37, so I am old school. But yeah, it's like a no brainer. It's like you with your own project. Like you've always shown your face since day one. You built a reputation for yourself first because you understand the importance of a face card and who you are. That's what gets you through the world. Now you're telling me I'm supposed to give you $1 million and you're too good to like come shake my hand or at least get on camera with me like once a year. Like, nah, man, we can't do that. I understand not being able to show up to an event. Okay. Not even a Twitter space? Not a Discord video call? Nah, man, we can't have that. It's nonsense.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's kind of crazy, and it has changed. I feel like founders being more forward facing has been like a trend now. And,
Hmm.
like a lot more founder funneling has been important. And, but I remember a few years back, I mean, it was the complete opposite where it was the cool thing for no one to know who's running the project. And it
Yeah,
was kind
yeah.
of like that was like the point of crypto is being completely anonymous. And that's why I think we just had, the craziest amount of rugs all the time. And I think I think people are more so taking the path now of like, okay, it's nice to know who the founder is because in all honesty, I asked you that question about the community. I think one of the reasons you have a community is because there's a face to it and at least someone's trying to lead the charge and, showing up. And I think when you show up, other people want to show up because they're like, all right, like he's doing something, right? So I'm liking that trend. And I think it's important too. We were just talking about on DMs, like I was at this Cardano Builder Fest in Da Nang, which is crazy because it's only a 5-minute drive from where I'm at. So I was like, no way, I'm not showing up to
Pretty
this.
cool.
But
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, yeah. But I think it's so important being able to like shake hands and meet people. And, there are people that I had never met before. Like the Guillermo from Book.io, like I talked to him. He's like their VP of engineering, pretty much like the second, like right under CEO. So it's cool. You get to meet these different founders, talk to them, learn about their story, and it goes a long way. Um, so with all that being said, I know we talked about a few things, but do you have any advice for founders while we're on this topic? Because it is
Oh,
hard to have
yeah.
a project that like 3 years deep, you don't really see too many. So like what sort of knowledge or advice, and maybe even for people that look to invest in projects, are there certain things they should look for in a founder?
All right, so you're asking me to give advice to the founder and the people
Yes,
investing.
yes.
All right. All right. So for the founders, basically build something that is actually uniquely you. Don't try to copy every single thing you see. Like if you're here just to copy somebody else because you think it's gonna be an easy bag, I promise you that's what's gonna make you end up rugging. You have no heart behind it. You'll literally give up too easily. It should be something that feels akin to your baby, like a part of you, almost like you attempted something that you felt was uniquely you. So with when you do something like that, you're more attached to it. You're a lot more. Your convictions are a lot higher. You're willing to sacrifice a lot more. You're willing to almost nearly give up everything for it instead of the other way around. Oh, I got a headache. I got to run. Um, and also, don't blame your community. Don't blame the Cardano community on why you're failing or why a mint didn't work or why you're being looked at negatively. Like I'll see narcissist founders all the time be like, "It's your fault I'm in jerk to you all." Like, nah, dude, it's just you, man. Like it's not our fault at all. And for investors, guys, don't let all the fabricated hype and followers and oh, he's got a gold check get to your head. Like try to figure out who someone really is. Maybe go look at their LinkedIn, maybe actually hear their intention. The intention is always in what people say. They'll always really tell you, I want the bag only in between their words. You only have to listen. And that's what I have to say to investors. Really pay attention to the individual behind the investment, behind the company, behind the face of the brand, and ask yourself, what is it about them and their utility or their white paper or their offerings that makes it a good buy? And if you're going to tell me it's because I think someone else will buy it for 2x, well, you got something that you got to look at yourself in the mirror at that point, because you got to be ready with whatever comes with that, right? If you thought you could sell on the news and it actually goes the opposite, well, that's the part of the game you're trying to play. But if you bought it because you actually like the utility and you can't wait to use said membership to, I don't know, get coffee every month or a barbecue sauce or something like that, then you did good for yourself, because when the whatever price action happens, at least you'll get the utility you asked for. So that's at the very least.
I love that. I love that. And speaking of utility, NFTs, you had mentioned it earlier on too. A lot of people are saying they're dead and stuff. Value has changed for NFTs. Meta has changed. I mean, where do you kind of see NFTs going as far as their value proposition? And what are you guys doing at Mallard for that?
Okay, cool. So originally, NFTs, they were in the price discovery zone in 2021. Oh, let's pay I don't know, 12 million for a Bored Ape. Like just
Yeah.
wild numbers, like so much hype and speculation, but that's to be expected in any emerging industry once again. I think now things are coming back down to earth. Things are being associated to the real value. Like, okay, if this project gives me X amount back in utility or in experiences, like it makes more sense now. Now to say NFTs are dead, that is the silliest shit ever. It's like being an ostrich with your head in a hole, because what you're missing out on is how the rest of the world is still adopting it, how giant megalodon, like, Fortune 500s are for some reason rebuilding infrastructure around it. Like Disney's doing it and Nike's doing it, and Spotify's even looking into it, right? And why do you think that is? It's great for both ends. Less fraud happens that way. And fraud in the sense of, I don't mean rug pulls, I mean fraud in like products. Less people can make third-party versions of your products when you can actually match the product one-to-one from the ISBN or the SKU right to on-chain and completely track the whole, from the point of sale and the production, from the production line to the point of sale. And there is no fudging the numbers to that, right? Like you have in real life, where the freight just disappeared, and we were held up in a truck. I didn't know these Nikes weren't real. That all goes out the window. The Spotify music artist will actually know when it was botted and when it was a person. So also for entry, also for keeping up with a database and following up ClickFunnels style, being able to airdrop the next ticket to the next Coachella to the same user. So you don't have to bother them with emails. You go right to the wallet and interact with them. You can even use it as advertising space. Like, bro, it's endless shit that you can actually do with it. I feel like coins are cool and all, but it's so much easier for a consumer to understand a collectible or a membership card. It's just less things to think about too. There's not all these numbers to account for and decimals and different assets. It's usually like a singular asset that an individual can understand, just like a card or a Funko Pop or something. That, hey, if I scan this here, I get access to XYZ. That's very easy to understand. That's why I think there's no real depth to it. Now, the depth of overhyped Ponzi-nomics and goofy derivative NFTs, yeah, it's the depth of that. But the non-fungible token and verifiable like access and authorization and database of a target audience, that ain't going nowhere. If anything, that's going to continue to be adopted. Like, who wants to keep their database on Firebase and shit that gets hacked all the time when you could just keep it on chain and literally have your user connect their wallet and be able to access an app or be able to access a gym or like, dude, yeah, it's got like endless dynamic use cases. It's such a tunnel vision way to view them. And usually it's from the flipper's eye. And it's from an individual who doesn't even collect shit in real life. Like, I've heard the craziest, most blasphemous stuff. Like, like art in general has no utility. Like, you don't buy art. It's just like you're talking to almost a caveman. It's like, so music never touched your heart, never got you like out the bed in the morning and change your mood. Like, anyways, I could just keep going on and on about why NFTs will never die as a technology. But this whole hype meta, like we're going up 1 million X and we're going to have 1 billion metaverses, I don't know so much about
that. Dude, that might have been one of the best answers I've ever heard to that question.
Thank you.
Dude, I love it. I mean, I completely agree. I think the speculative hype degen, I'm going to make a 2x transition from NFTs to just Solana meme coins or something like that are way more easily tradable and can pump easier, right? Like, I think the greedy speculative stuff transition into meme coins, and now with NFTs, it's more so about the brand and the IP and the art and the community and access and using that technology to actually solve real world problems like authentication. I completely agree with that take. How are you guys doing it with Mallard? Like, what
Okay, cool.
kind of, what are you guys trying to do to I guess, yeah, actually bring something real.
Yeah. So, okay, IRL event. So originally we did the whole rune token. We purposely didn't have it with an LP, etc. Right? And at the time, you could use rune to basically enter in raffles. We would buy what does it say? Something went wrong. Reload. Am I still live with you?
Yeah, you're live. You're live.
Okay, cool. So yeah, originally you can use the rune to jump into raffles. We would buy like certain assets with our royalties every single month, and we're buying like top level NFTs at that time, especially when everything was overhyped, right? So we would buy a clay pitch or a clay blah blah blah, put it up, and then you'd use rune to do simple raffles. And also rune is how you got into everything else from Mallards. Like our relic sets, we didn't charge ADA for that. We just let you buy it with rune. Also, ordinals, we of course didn't charge for that. We did them manually inscribed on our own synchronized node. None of these cookie cutter UI UX sites existed yet. We literally had to sit in all the original ORD Discord channels and all that good stuff where you don't get to just come in like a noob, like, how do I inscribe? You actually have to use the search. I love when info is like that. It's like old forum board style, where the minute you come in, instead of researching first within that forum board, and you go, well, how do you do this? Someone just answers google.com. And that's the vibe there. So it's like you had to do all this self-learning in a quick pace because it was almost like the gold rush is happening at the same time of technology. These inscription numbers are climbing, and you better get that node synced, you better inscribe, etc. People were able to get into those with rune. I felt like that was some decent utility originally, but now we're going to do a V2 version of it. We're going to have a swap for the original one, and this one will have LP injected to it. Thus far, we're going to do print shop B2C this time around, have a whole front end for it on Shopify. On the back end, the API plays into something called the conduit. It's essentially an all-in-one analytics dashboard that's connected to our whole ecosystem. So therefore, no one can ever ask again, oh, what do Mallards do? It's very simple now. So comics tell a narrative and a story that people can get behind, especially in the Web 2 world, of something as simple as, and really cool, because I never really seen this theme, and I love comics. DuckTales meets Skull and Bones. It's something like can make you feel like you're watching a Saturday morning cartoon, but with the dark undertones of like the taboo, you know? And I really feel from surveying a lot of individuals from my Instagram to people in person to people at shows, I feel like it could really be a hit, especially with a little more backing. And percentages of sales of, mind you, we're working on a better legal wrapper right now to be able to facilitate this. But essentially, from our new Medium article that we just put out, I don't know if you read it, but whoever is out there listening, please do go read it. I also made a stream reading it for you, just in case you're like Mayweather and can't really read it that well. But anywho, so percentage of those sales, percentage of the merch sales, IRL events, we've already done 6. We've already shown people that we can do these things, and we plan to do more. We plan to also get involved in the nightlife scene too. One of us, Nem, for instance, even has this whole setup. I don't want to give away too much of her stuff, but it's basically like she has access to all these really low key, really badass locations because a lot of her clientele are like high end people, right? So she's got like access to this fucking insane Soho loft right now that she's basically gonna have catering for. And then she has all this access to these like cannabis companies that want to sponsor her. So she's thinking about doing like these cannabis infused dinner series and all this cool stuff through this other company. And, you know, some of that ROI comes back, gallery shows comes back. You know, they're going to be doing parties as well. And in each one of these things, we have multiples, a multitude of ideas. One of them being a photo booth, right? Basically, it's like half 3D printed, half made out of wood. My friend makes these. But one thing he doesn't make is this aspect that I wanted to add to it, which is basically power a Raspberry Pi setup in a sync node, use SDK from NMaker, allow people to take their picture in the booth. Before they take their picture, they have to scan. When they enter the party, they enter and they have to scan. When they scan, we originally make them a custodial wallet that has X amount of ADA, and it's somewhere like 5 point something, 10 ADA. The individual then goes over to the fun merriment like area, right? And, oh, look, photo booth. You don't pay cash. You just swipe either the QR code we gave you or the wristband. Once you do that, individual then gets a printout because of a script, right, from the Raspberry Pi, printout of their image, but another script runs in parallel in like headless mode, most likely, you know, so we don't use up all of the RAM from the CLI running all these little interfaces. Although we could run, I think it's called T-Mix. Anyways, when the printout happens on the other script, it would actually mint it on chain. So give these people like an on-chain version of their picture, thus creating a user, quote unquote, onboarding, and then B, actually having the user make a TX, actually having the user make on-chain transactions that are causing more activity on the quote unquote ghost chain. And then there are a few other little activations we have in mind. And like I said, that comes back into the same pool. And anything else that we do will be so I might have gone over comics, royalties, IRL events, merch shop, print shop. That's pretty much it. That all goes back into this pool. And then there are 4 options for them to vote. We have a partner right now that we're going to announce very soon that's helping us with the whole autonomous smart contract governance side of things. We're going to be using their platform. And yeah, so that's pretty much, it's going to be that simple. It's going to be some percentage of it gets applied to the new V2 LP. You could, if you're keen enough, you could probably extract some value from there. And then the rest you guys can vote on. Will we be sweeping up assets that will then lock up and give away later to other people who haven't been Mallards yet? Will we then just inject it into LP? Will we use it to sponsor somebody else's events or do something really neat for the whole ecosystem? What shall we do? They'll decide. Oh, and there's another really neat thing. So Raiders Guild, right? A whole social engagement platform where we were really the first to do it. I hate to say it. If you go all the way back in time, you'll see us talk. Seriously, we had a whole Discord bot we created ourselves with it, etc. before it had a whole interface. And right now you pay an ADA, etc. But what we thought would be cool is once there's actual quote unquote backed value to the Rune V2, you'll actually be able to create raids with it. And when a raid is created by you using Rune, the pool then has, it takes like, I believe 75% goes to all the participants, like in a split pool, and then the rest of it would get burned. And that's pretty much this. I feel like it's a pretty decent flow chart. It's not overly complicated, and these are things that we can actually facilitate and do and feel close to home. It's not like we're faking the funk on any of these endeavors. So that's it.
Dude, that is a lot of stuff. Out of everything that you just mentioned, which one are you most excited about, and I guess like bullish about?
I'm excited
and I'm also
about
curious.
all.
There's like a
Yep,
second thing. There's like, what kind of makes you decide what to do? Like that be like, what made you get into those things? But yeah, I guess like first, what you're most excited for, and then what's kind of the decision making process behind these.
So the thing is, we'll take a lot of. Yeah, dude, these comments are fucking hilarious. Like, I'm still here, baby. Anywho, what was I gonna say? Right. So what makes me most excited? The excitement comes from the simple fact it all plays into one another. So, okay, let's think. I'm gonna go to expos and I'm gonna be doing gallery shows. That's a whole lot of printing. I most likely want to do it in-house. And as I'm doing it in-house, I most likely want to make an extra buck off of it with all these extra materials lying around, right? So the print plays into creating our banners, our cutouts. When we were at CNFT-Con originally, all those cutout heads and all that cool material, marketing material, the business card, dude, we printed that all in-house. We saved so much money by doing that. And the same thing with Raiders Guild. Well, it'd be pretty neat once we have all these offerings to have a quick snowball effect and also integrations into Instagram and TikTok with already pre-existing following, right? To help us promote these other offerings like a print shop and, anything else we got going on, right? Like a comic. So that plays into that. Now, when it comes to lore building, we think it's just corny after a while to just put it into a Discord. Why not visualize it? It's simpler to understand. It's digestible that way. And you can actually aim it at a Web2 audience, and maybe through a little QR code on the back of the page for those that are keen enough and want to like dig deep, they might scan it. But to those who don't, so what? Maybe they'll never get into NFTs, but you know what they will do? They will get into this insignia, and it will then expand our presence and the audience around us. It'll make us something to be revered instead of just this small bubble of a niche. And yeah, so I'm bullish about all of it because it technically plays into one another, and I need all these arms. How do you build network? How do you build relationships with people? Most people will trust you better, and you'll get to know each other better when you can maybe share a drink or a dinner with one another, or introduce each other's families and meet each other at a show. So it all plays part, and each segment plays into one another. So that's why we can do it, and that's why we should do it that way. And everyone commanding the ship right now, like Nemesis, a female co-founder, she's from the Philippines, graduated top of her class in FIT. Shala graduated top of his class in FIT. When I see hater comments, it's always coming from like a person I know doesn't even have these accolades. That's the funny thing. We're talking Nemesis has sold paintings to like The Weeknd and like, you know, some NBA players. And she's worked for like this insane top level artist before back in the day. Jojo, you can look this guy up. That guy's like a multi-millionaire. He doesn't sell art under $30,000. So we're talking like really high-end connections are her. And so of course we should do IRL events because she's already been doing that for the last, I don't know, 15, 20 years of her life. So yeah, man, I hate to sound corny, but I'm bullish about all of it because it almost each part needs one another, you know?
You know, it's interesting when you like first brought up each thing, I didn't really see how it all connected, but now that you went through that, I see the synergies of why you're doing each thing. It's like, okay, we're hosting events because not only do we have a lot of connects, but we also have the print shop that then can post the materials for that. And I think it's really, cool. You're building out a whole ecosystem that all synergizes with each other, and then you're driving that value back to holders, whether through the V2 LP or whatever the holders end up voting on.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean that's super dope, man. How do you manage all this? Because I know like from my side, it's like, holy crap, like when I'm doing all this stuff, like my mind just explodes. Like, how are you able to sort of make sure these things are done?
A supportive team that's
Yeah.
always on it. Like Nem, she's already doing the call to action. She's already reaching out to people, trying to get them in for an event for June. And I leave her to it. And then she has her own little commanding team, right? She sets up her own street team. She talks to her own network. So she's got her own, she's help in that regard. Me, I'm more focusing on delegating tasks, staring at a Kanban board, and just dealing with micro management in the back end, and then dealing with the marketing. This is something I've been doing my whole life, so I don't mind it. And I'm super like capable of dealing with high stress situations. I quite enjoy it that way. It's how I grew up. Only I live in New York City. I mean, I'm walking here, everything's yelling, people are throwing stuff at you. You know, I know
You live in the
no,
chaos.
yeah. I was born in it, so I'm okay with that. And then we have, like, for instance, Foxlord. This guy's just a beast at what he does. He could generate art in such a quick time, and he gets so focused, and he personally enjoys having a lot of tasks. My co-founder Hayden had to take a lot of steps back because he suffers, and we already told everybody this back in the day, but he suffers from Crohn's disease. But before he really got sicker over time, this kid is like a calculation master and logistics guy. Like, he really digs like trying to figure out ways to like find how people can exploit rewards and like work on it and patch it up. Now we got our friend Ian instead, Joyless, helping out in that regard. Our new developer, Sub-Zero, aka Bez. This guy's been built, dude. He's got a whole automated trading system for Solana. He's about to drop that. He's also gonna set up something for Mallards with. He's done a lot of building for other ecosystems, and now he's building for us. And this guy's like really, really freaking good. Full stack dev, amazing. And he's helping out with Raiders Guild and a couple of other things. And we're about to hire one of his guys that he really enjoys working with. So then he has his own little partner to work with. And yeah, that's how we do it. We delegate tasks to multiple people. It's not just me. I'm just the one always yapping, you know?
Yeah, I love that. And I don't know if this is real. Is there a duck fest, or is this just like
I guess that's what they're calling it. Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, I don't know what that is, but essentially we have thrown parties and we did do a virtual version of a duck fest. But yeah, we'll never call it a duck fest, guys. We'll never call it that.
it's got to be more culty and
Yeah,
mysterious to fit the
a little
brand?
creative. I'm just saying a little more creative than just like what the animal is and what the event name is, you know, like to say.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy that we're almost at an hour here already. I did want to briefly talk about what's coming next for Mallard. I know you just said that you dropped a whole article and you live streamed it. I mean, what can people expect next?
Okay, cool. Right now, just today, I want to get this out there. Raiders Guild just had this pretty big update. We fixed a bunch of bugs. We added this whole news feed at the top. And one of the coolest features, we want to give everybody like I always remember video games, and I told the dev, I was like, you know what? Because Damien brought up a good point the other day. Since staking just went live, you could stake your mallards again. You know, we have a custom CMS made by none other than Anvil. Shout out to Cash and the team. Those are my boys. I met them in person. These guys kick ass. I met them in person numerous times. Super down to earth. I love working with them. So yeah, everybody can go start staking again there. But I was like, hey, Damien had a good point. We should raise the interaction limits. Normally, as a non-holder, there are limits in how many raids you can interact with and earn on Raiders Guild. But we were just like, you know what? Let's get more people involved by giving them like a demo, almost like a double XP weekend type of vibe in World of Warcraft or something like that. And it's just like, all of you guys go to app.raidersguild.io and everyone has 99 interactions. That's basically like you could do as many raids as you want. First come, first serve, basically. It's happening right now. It's live. New interface is live. Next up, a lot of the folks that are making raid platforms, guys, I think you're looking at it the wrong way. It's not just about Discord and it's not just about X. You're only focusing on this small niche, and this niche in itself is already evolving. We are expanding outside of just this little bubble, social media wise. You might want to think about new integrations. We're adding Instagram, TikTok, Facebook next. And when it comes to on-chain related stuff, we're adding Bitcoin integration to it. So our ordinals will then have some utility. Ducks, relics, invitation letters, they all have one really cool utility on Raiders Guild, which is just discounts for your creations of your raids, let alone the ability to withdraw sooner, let alone the ability to earn more XP, because there's this whole progress system with leaderboards. So your assets currently give you utility in that regard. So we're going to keep fleshing out Raiders Guild. Also, AI curating of messages and vetting is coming to Raiders Guild as well. So whenever you're just like on the toilet and you're like, dang it, I'm on my 10th raid, I don't know how to be super unique anymore and give them a really good response. No problem. Grok power. Just press that cute little button. It'll write you out a proper response based on context from the original poster. And I've gone over pretty much the other stuff we're going to do. We're doing an issue number 2 comic. We're going to have this whole like supporter pack system because yes, after so many years of not asking to mint, we feel like at this point, we could use a little more runway to help us out with our ideas. I'll be super transparent. I even told everyone during that stream and in that Medium article, but there's a lot in it for you because a large portion of that mint goes right back to everyone on day one, and it's all written in there as well. And yeah, I really want to get these comics in IRL hands and outside of this space. I want to sit at San Diego Comic-Cons. I want to sit at local nerdy events. I want to be there for free comic book day that happens every year. And I want individuals to get their hands on this thing. I've surveyed a bunch of individuals on Instagram for multiple accounts, from my own, from Zara's account, aka Nemesis, which is her real art name, you know, her NYC art name, from Shala account, who's Box Lord, and they have pretty good followings there. And every single time, everyone's like, yo, that looks so rad. That looks so cool. So I really just want to feel what that experience is like to see it come to life. So those are the biggest things that are happening next for us. And like I already told you, the Rune V2 in a few months, we're going to let everyone get their ducks in a row. No pun intended.
Dude, exciting, man. And kind of the last question I have for today is you have a lot of stuff going on. You've been building for a few years now. Where do you hope to see Mallard Order in the next 3 to 5 years? Best case scenario, where do you hope to see
Yeah,
it?
I'll keep it real with you. Alive, still here, still able to survive. Yep, still with the stamina. But truthfully, in your local comic shop, 12 issues deep already, like actual fan base outside of just the space, not focusing only on floor prices, more events happening, and people actually, extracting some value from their hard-earned, sacrifices, like their time. That's what I always go to sleep guilty with. It's like, I got to make right for the people who've been sitting here 3 years trying to believe in me. So that's pretty much it. I'll keep it very simple, because those who claim they can see the foresight of this space 5 to 10 years from now, please. Remember when we thought
try 2 months. Try 2 months. Yeah.
Bro, remember all of us and the bright eyes we had in 2020 and 2021? Like, oh man, Doquan's definitely not going to rug. FTX couldn't possibly ever crash. And it's like, you never know. So that's why I try to keep my eyesight on 2 years out, a year out, and we'll keep going forward from there. But essentially, 5 years from now, I just want to scale from wherever we are today and still be around. I'll keep it that simple.
Love it, man. I really love your authenticity and your passion. I saw earlier P-Dub was like, love the passion. I think that's like one of your best traits, is just your passion, trying to get after it, your commitment to it, your authenticity. I think that goes a long ways. And I think that's only going to get valued more and more as time goes on. Like just that realness, the authenticity, saying, I don't know where the space is going to be in a couple years. You even said earlier, the authenticity, we could use some more money to be able to execute on these things.
Yep.
I think a lot of founders lack that. So yeah, appreciate you actually like doing those things. But
thank you so
also
much.
appreciate everyone no, I mean, I think it's good for, I think in this space there's a lot of hate just in the world in general, but I think it's important for founders to get their flowers, every now and then, because I know a lot of work goes unnoticed. In general, a lot of things go unnoticed. People don't realize how much time goes into these different things, how much things actually cost, the different hurdles that come your way, right? But I mean, that's just what you do as a founder. You keep it pushing. I also want to say thank you to everyone that tuned in today. Between all of the X accounts, we had over 350 people listening live, which is awesome. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Demos, anything you want to say before we wrap up?
I just want to say, Mallard up, guys. And please be positive out there.
Mallard up. Let's go. But awesome. Thank you.